Welcome all my friends to It's Vinylly Mine. So glad you could join us today. Got another one from TerrorVision Records. Yes, I am a big fan. I am part of the record club as well, but man, I tell you, I just love their releases and I'm excited to take a look at the one we've got for you today. It is the soundtrack, the original motion picture score to Spookies. Yes, that's right. The 1986 American independent horror film has electronic synth, so you know what you're going to be in for because of the mid-80s and what we've been covering so far on the show as far as some of those mid-80s horror soundtracks. So looking forward to getting up close and personal with TerrorVision's release of this. This is TV005 and it was released in 2016. So enough about me babbling. Let's drop the needle and take a look at this score from Mr. Ken Higgins and James Calabrese. Okay, so TerrorVision, there it is, the tried and true fortune teller miracle fish. I am holding on to these because I am sure one day they will be quite valuable, especially if we ever get into the apocalypse. Ooh, magic, right? Now, I'm just kidding, but I am collecting them. So, and the pixie stick, always entertaining to eat one of these while you're listening to some wonderful retro soundtracks on vinyl. And yes, Chloe from Graveface, thank you for your order. No, thank you, Chloe, for being part of a company that's helped releasing some of these soundtracks that never got a chance to see the light of day. So let's get up and close and personal with Spookies. So I love this packaging that they do. And here we have the vinyl is separate from the sleeve, which is great, and the gatefold, and ready to get up close. And let's take a look at what we got here. All right. So, the sleeve is in here as well with the liner notes, which I believe are from the composer. So we'll take a look at the record in a minute, and that in a minute. Oh, spoiler, that's actually side 2. Oh, check that out. That's even better than the other side, right? Spookies soundtrack. Now, the illustrations here are done by Chloe Pinnock, and Earl Kess has done the layout and the design. These two very creative folks always come up with interesting stuff for TerrorVision, and they don't disappoint here. This is from the poster. I love it. They've got all the creepy creatures in here, from Ouija Girl, the Spider Lady, to the Spider Woman, to the Muckmen in here as well. Spookies near the top. I love that title. It's such a great title. Music from the original motion picture soundtrack. Then we have the Muckmen over here and our various creatures, which all look great in this low-budget independent horror film. All practical effects back in the day. And let me tell you, all of the makeup effects just creepy and wonderful and visceral and just wild too. There was some wild imaginations going on when they designed these creatures. Yes, you do have some of your exploitation factor in there as well from an 86 indie horror film, as you kind of expect. And here we have over to the side the music composed by James Calabrese and Ken Higgins. Now, I'm interested to hear this music. I believe the music was done after the film was finished, but the film has had a bit of a tumultuous, I probably used that word wrong or mispronounced it, but history with it as far as the directors go. Now, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, but let's just say it is an interesting history for this. Now, if we look at the spine of Spookies, it is also in the blue and red. It's thick and nice. I love that. And then the back, which did get spoiled for us just a little bit. And but yeah, here we again, original motion picture soundtrack, only this time we just have the outline of Spookies and that wonderfully creepy face. It creeps me out every time I see it. I love it. You've got the track listing of side A in red on the left, and then side B, the track listing is in blue on the right here. Again, who composed it, and the TerrorVision logo with that wonderful art and the layout. Now let's take a look at the gatefold inside, shall we? And oh wow, look at this wild party happening here. All the creatures in the graveyard and everything just embodying the wild and craziness that is Spookies. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, especially if you're looking for some of that good 80s fun retro practical effect horror films. You even got here Life is So Short. That is actually on a tombstone in the movie. There's a grave with a chain across it, and yeah, there's Muckman again, and just Spider Lady, and just all kinds of creepy creatures, and this art just embodies that in this layout. So kudos to Chloe and Earl for a great layout, and just one that really is going to look great on the shelf. Now, as far as the sleeve that we get goes, on the one side, we do have liner notes from Higgins and Calabrese, as well as a few small production stills, and the creepy face in the background there with Spookies in blue this time. And then on the other side, oh, I love it. I love it. Original one-sheet poster from the 86th release of Spookies, and a couple more wonderful stills showing off the great special effects for 1986 that this film had in it. So as far as the vinyl goes, let's take a close look at the vinyl, shall we? Oh, it's colored vinyl, 180 gram vinyl. Love it. And yeah, on one side we do have the track listings for Spookies for both sides A and B, and in true TerrorVision fashion, the other side, creepy logo. Oh, beautiful. And that's in the title, I believe, the title screen of Spookies, if I remember correctly, in this colored with a little bit of smoky bluish pattern to it. So that's also very cool and artistic, and I can't wait to listen to this soundtrack, and I'll give you what a little history there is with the directors, as well as one of my favorite and interesting tracks are. So stay tuned.
Hey everyone, you want to help us decide what we review here on It's Vinylly Mine? Then head on over to www.patreon.com/SpecialMarkProductions. It's our Patreon page where we have 3 great tiers for you to join. If you join our top tier, you get early access to all the videos we post on YouTube. Plus, you get to participate in a poll to decide on what we review on It's Vinylly Mine, and you get a poll to decide what the VIP episode will be for the month exclusively for our patrons. We got a lot of great content there, so head on over there, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes, we are back, everyone, and what a wonderful synth soundtrack. Another one. Yeah, I'm creating quite a collection of these, and I love listening to these because during the 80s you hear some of the, the big blockbusters have the big orchestral scores, and here the smaller budgeted films had to make do with what they could, and getting these talented composers to work with what technology is out there and sometimes get even creative with it. And that's what you have here with the Spooky soundtrack, with what Calabrese and Higgins do with this score. Now, it was a bit of a challenge for them because, you see, the original film was called Twisted Souls, and it was directed by Brendan Faulkner and Thomas Duran. And once it got into the editing booth, the producers wanted to take the film in a different direction, so they hired another director in the form of Jeannie Joseph, who finished the directing and shot some new shots, but they also used footage from Twisted Souls because they didn't, want to lose those special effects shots. And so they mixed it together, and then they brought it to these guys. And yeah, they really did well with what was given to them, as them being their first soundtrack that they did. And I loved the variety of different sounds we get in here, from Attack of the Lizard People, which has a bit of a classical Baroque tone to it, as they mentioned in the liner notes. And then Duke and Peter Come to Blows was interesting, almost has a bit of a jazzy feel to it, whereas Spider Lady has a bit more of a music from the Orient type of feel to it. And just, yeah, and then the zombie theme, the end credit sequence is fantastic. I loved that track too. So a lot of great instrumental music here that has a wide variety of sounds, compared to some where they're just more, a little bit more atmospheric and moody. These ones definitely, they just bring it for each character, almost giving it their own identity through music. And I appreciate that quite a bit, especially for this being these composers' first soundtrack. So There you go, folks. Spookies. You should check it out if you can. Check out the movie. It is wild. The soundtrack is great if you're into synth and mid-80s soundtracks and that type of sound. You're going to want to catch this because it is a solid release. The pressing sounds crisp, and TerrorVision always bringing their best game. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. And remember, till next time, it's not yours. It's vinylly mine, and I'll catch you on the flip side.